If you're planning on studying in the UK soon, there's obviously going to be a lot on your mind. It's a brand new country, a whole new thrilling experience, and it's very easy to get blown away by it all. And because everything is new, it's very easy for you to get blindsided and make mistakes. A bunch of these mistakes that mostly students who are coming to the UK from other countries tend to make. The thing is, either you or your family has spent a lot of money on making sure that you can come to the UK and study. So any mistake you make can turn out to be quite an expensive mistake. So how about you learn from everybody else's mistakes so that you don't make the same mistakes when you come to the UK as a student and instead make the best use of your time here. In today's video, we're talking about the top mistakes international students make when they move to the UK and how you can avoid them. If you're new to my channel, my name is Ashika, and on this channel we talk about moving to the UK and other countries. With that, let's dive in. So the first big mistake most people make when you're moving to the UK is packing wrong. If you pack too many of the wrong things and too few of the right things, it can be quite an expensive affair. So let me explain. Irrespective of which month you move to the UK in, it's going to get hot, it's going to get cold, it's going to rain, and it might even snow. The big mistake most people make is packing too many jackets. And the challenge with that is big jackets take up a lot of space, and that is something you are short of when you're moving to the UK. Instead, just pack one warm jacket and take lighter jackets or sweatshirts, because it's the norm to dress in layers in the UK because the weather keeps changing and very frequently. Also, if you actually feel that you need another jacket when you're here, either you can pick up one. There are lots of stores over here that sell perfect jackets for the UK, or you can lean into the pre-loved culture, because the pre-loved culture is very big in the UK. There are stores which are charity stores in the UK which sell you close to brand new clothes that have been given away or donated by other people in perfect condition at a fraction of the price. Another really big mistake people make is not packing or buying the right electronics from your home country. Electronics in the UK can get really expensive. So if your laptop has been giving you challenges for some time now, it might make more sense to buy a new laptop in India before coming over here, because if you plan on getting a new one here or you think you'll pull on and then it doesn't work, it can be quite expensive. The same goes for mobile phones. If you're Indian and you love your Indian snacks, you might be tempted to fill your suitcase with Indian snacks. Don't do that. You get all of it over here. The same goes with spices. You get spices, you get Indian utensils over here. Instead, save up the space in your bag for your meds. If you have problematic skincare, buy your skincare in India, because you don't know if you may or may not get it here, right? Especially if they're local brands, you may not get it in the UK. So use your space instead for that. And if you plan on going back to your home country after your studies, don't pack too much, because you're going to buy some stuff over here and then you'll probably have to leave some of it behind, because how are you going to take it back without paying excess baggage, right? Another huge mistake students make when they move here is not securing accommodation before they get to the UK. If you watched my interview with a student in the UK, Haniwant, he had mentioned that the biggest problem he had faced was securing good student accommodation after he moved here. Let's be honest, good university accommodation is expensive and difficult to come by. A really good option for you to consider to book your accommodation before you actually come to the UK, and you can book it from your home country, is Amber. It's a really good website that lists out properties across the UK. The listings are verified, so you don't have to worry about getting conned, and there's expert one-on-one assistance if you have any questions. And there's also a price match guarantee, which basically means if you'll see a property that you like listed for lower anywhere else, Amber will match the lower price, which is great if you ask me. And the rooms look pretty great too. So avoid yourself the hassle of having to look for rooms after you get here, because you might not get the good rooms, by booking your room and your accommodation in advance. Now, here's the thing. There are tons of grants and scholarships available to study in the UK, and if you haven't checked them out right now, you're losing out. Most scholarships cover tuition. Some scholarships cover tuition and accommodation. Others even cover the cost of travel tickets, the cost of books and clothing. Students who excel at university might even be eligible for financial help through the institution. I cover scholarships that are available from time to time, so do remember to check out my YouTube videos. What you can also do is check with your university and see what options are available for students like you. And you can also Google it out. Oh, and by the way, remember Amber, the company we just spoke about? Well, they have a scholarship for £10,000, so you might want to check that out. Now, Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and click on the bell icon for notifications. Now, if you're used to just going with the flow back home in your college, you might be in for a rude shock. I mean, my undergrad class had 80 students, so it was really easy to blend in. But the structure here is that the classes and the seminars tend to have smaller batches, so blending in might not be an option. To add to it, you will be treated as an adult over here, so you will be required to do your research and your reading before coming to your classes, and not just listen in your class but also contribute to the conversation. Now, with most students when they first move to the UK, this isn't too much of a challenge, but as time goes by, they just get complacent because of either work or because they're hanging with their friends. Don't let that be your case, because here's the thing, if you don't have the required attendance or if you don't pass your exams, your visa might be revoked and you'll be forced to go back home. So it's really important for you to keep your eye on the ball. Now, another mistake a lot of people make when they first move to the UK as international students is tend to stick with students who come from similar countries or the same country that they come from, right? Because you're thrown in a new situation and you'll obviously find comfort in the familiar. But you need to remind yourself that you need to step out of your comfort zone, because if you wanted to mingle with people from your own country only, you could have done that back home, right? You didn't have to come all the way to the UK. Instead, make the effort to also make friends or introduce yourself to people from different countries and different backgrounds. You actually might realize that not all the English love fish and chips, and not all the French are like how they're portrayed in Emily in Paris. Or are they? You tell me. Next up, read the do's and don'ts on your visa before you do anything stupid. For instance, like starting a YouTube channel. Here's the thing, as a student in the UK, you are allowed to have a YouTube channel. What you aren't allowed is to make money from the YouTube channel, because your visa doesn't allow you to be self-employed. So you might want to be careful with that, because if you get caught, it could be very problematic. You could get fined, you could lose your visa, anything's possible. Another rule is that you cannot work more than 20 hours a week. So make sure you read your visa letter really carefully and understand everything you can and can't do. Now, another thing is, when you move to the UK, you need to understand that you are no longer in your home country. The rules and the culture is different over here, and you need to respect that. Am I saying you need to eat and drink and speak like you're British? No, that's not what I'm saying. I love my chicken tikka as much as any other Indian. But am I going to roll my car down the street with my windows down, blasting Hindi music? No, I'm not. You have to understand what the culture is over here and understand the boundaries within which you have to operate, or you can operate, because very honestly, the UK is a very welcoming country and a very tolerant country. But that does not mean you trample all over their culture. For instance, most of the services here are extremely punctual. The trains, the buses, the ferries, all of them operate exactly on the dot. So even if you are late by half a minute, you've missed it. Talking loudly in a train or in a bus is very inconsiderate, and littering, oh my god, littering is an absolute no. And you're expected to queue up for everything from entering a train to buying coffee. Cutting the queue is an absolute no. So if you want to live here and enjoy your time in the UK, learn to be considerate towards the people who already live here. Another really big mistake a lot of people make when they move to the UK is not managing their time properly. When you start your course in the UK, time is going to fly by a lot faster than you expected. You'll have your classes, and then there's going to be project work, and if you have a part-time job like most of the students in the UK do, it's going to eat up a lot of your time. And apart from that, you'll also want to hang out with your friends and explore the UK, because it's a gorgeous country. And of course, there'll be pub hopping, because, well, the pubs in the UK are absolutely famous, and you'll need to call back home because you want to keep in touch with your family, right? Suddenly you realize you're behind on everything, and then, my friend, you're in a lot of trouble. The smart way to go about it is to calendarize everything, or use productivity and time management tools, and there are quite a few of them. You can use the Todoist. It's absolutely great if you want to make lists and keep a track of everything that's going on. Or you can use Notion, the very hyped productivity tool that a lot of people use to keep a track of everything they're supposed to do and manage their time effectively. Another massive mistake a lot of people in the UK make is not asking for help. Yes, you are an adult and people expect you to be rather smart if you got into college in the UK, but that doesn't mean they expect you to know everything. You might be thrown into situations where you have absolutely no idea of what to do, because YouTube can teach you only so much, right? In these scenarios, you have to understand that it is absolutely okay to ask for help. I've been in the UK almost 2 years now, and even then, I absolutely make it a point to ask the locals from here or my friends who've been here for a long time any possible doubt that I have. You have the option of asking other students. You can ask the student office, you can ask your friends, your relatives. You also have the option of joining groups on Facebook or WhatsApp for that extra help from your community members. Another really important point that you should keep in mind is to have the contact details of your embassy locally, so that in case of any emergencies, you know whom to reach out to. Now, in case you're not aware, when you move to the UK as a student, there's a bunch of things you absolutely need to do, and it's really important and essential so that your stay in the UK goes off well. If you'd like to know more about this, and I've listed all of them down, all you need to do is watch this video.